What's up, ladies? All right, we're going to go through this post. There's a lot of comments, and I'm so excited to go through it. First, I'm going to pin our video to the top of our Facebook group. Make sure you're there if you're watching this anywhere else. It is called Macro Tracking and Weightlifting for Women. Beautiful. Also, I want to say thank you to everyone who replied. I'm really excited to chat through it. I have not looked through any of these because I want it to come from just a really pure, genuine space rather than like the most perfect scientific answer. I'm like, no, I just want to chat woman to woman with you. And I really hope I can solve a solid amount of problems here. Okay, beautiful. Let's dive in. Okay. So Miss Mendy said, okay, and we have some same. So Miss Mendy said, feeling good about my weightlifting, but much needed help with consistency regarding food. So my intent here, because I can go so deep into each one, right? So I'll kind of give like some tips, tricks, guidance for each one. And then if you want to dig deeper, just shoot me a message and we'll talk through it, okay? So typically what we see, the issue of consistency around food is two things. The first thing is feeling like you have to restrict to achieve a fit toned body, right? And so not believing that you actually can go be social, you can go out to eat, you can live a normal life and be super fit and healthy. Are there going to be trade-offs? You betcha, right? Naturally. There's definitely trade-offs like sauce on the side, in a deficit, for example. But tracking, even when you don't fully know the thing, but just like tracking no matter what, really helps create consistency in your nutrition. At first, even if you're not hitting numbers, it's still really going to help to keep the tracking consistency because then you have one habit built. Yes. Now we get to stack on that habit and say, okay, if I'm not consistent in anything, except now I'm tracking, so now I'm consistent there. Now I'm going to get consistent in hitting my protein, then get consistent there, then habit stack again. Now I'm going to get more produce in each day, right? So don't feel like you have to eat the whole elephant. Basically, just take one bite at a time and challenge your mindset, you guys. There's so much more mindset involved in this than I think many of you realize because we can't take our body somewhere our mind hasn't gone, right? So when you feel some type of way of I can't track today, or gosh, I have no clue what I'm even eating, so why should I even track? Instead of accepting that, challenge it. Say, why would I not track? What's it going to give me if I track, and what's it going to take away if I don't, right? Playing that game of fact or fiction, like, can I prove this in a court of law that not tracking all day and blowing the day is a better option than just doing it anyway and tracking to the best of my ability? No, you know what I'm saying? So always ask yourself that. I'm going to actually answer this question since you guys are live, all prioritizers. You said lift weights and more reps can be successful in building muscle. Yeah, it depends on your rep scheme. It depends what your body needs, and it depends what phase of training you're in. Hypertrophy, like building size, right, is typically about 10 to 12 reps. But sometimes, so at Queens of Iron, we'll do sometimes 4 reps, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15. I think we've gone as high as 20. Yeah, I think about as high as 20 at this point, sometimes 15. Why do we put women a little bit higher? We don't do it often, but a lot of it is endurance, right? So similar to cardio. So it's giving their body and their mind a little bit of a break from like so much weight and putting a different stimuli or a different stressor on their mind and body. Doing 20 reps is a beast. It sounds easy. Oh, lighter weight. It's a beast mentally and physically. And so it helps the woman grow and develop. And do I believe that aids in muscle building? You betcha. It's a different stimuli, right? Your muscles have to do something different. They have to change to account for the stressors, right? But we don't do it often. So it'd be like 4 weeks, for example. Yeah, I think, well, hypertrophy is for sure great for muscle growth, right? So I'm like, you probably want to stick a lot of your time in hypertrophy, depending on what your body needs. That's not for everyone. There's some women who are called a variety responder. Actually, I won't get, okay. I won't get too in the weeds, ladies. I'm sorry. I'm like, I could talk forever. Okay, so let me keep going to Miss Demi. She says, I'm in a plateau. I've lost 145 pounds. Yeah, girl. And now the scale won't budge. I have my stats. It still won't budge. I recalculated my calories. It still won't budge. I can almost guarantee it's three things. If it's at least one of these things, it's more than likely all three of these things. One, you need macros more dialed into you, whether you're working on a calculator or whatever. You guys, calculators are great for a time, right? Obviously, we have one. If you want to comment, women do get amazing results, but to go to like the last bit of where you're wanting, it takes a human, right? It takes extremely dialed in macros to your body that change as your body needs, right? And so the first thing is dialed in macros. The second thing is if you're not doing physique shaping style of lifting, it causes plateaus so much by not doing that, right? Because general fitness or like lifting routines that lack some strategy, they are great. You're moving your body, right? You're doing the things, but there's so much more, you know what I mean? And so if you're stuck, like you need that next step there. The other thing is more than likely it's habits for sure. A lot of women come in and think that they're like on point, but there's like so many tiny things you can actually pick out that don't require maybe a massive change, but do require change, right? And a lot of times it's mindset, mindset around different things. Okay, Miss Carissa, there we go. So she says, I'm killing it with meal planning and I am almost insulated by fast food when my biggest downfall in the past was eating fast food. Insulted. That's funny. And so down 25 pounds since New Year's. So I don't think you had anything going wrong. That's amazing. I love that. I think what she's saying is she's like so disgusted by it now. It's like almost an insult. And I'm like, yeah, girl, that's a cool mindset shift. That's so awesome. All right, Ms. Bonnie, I need help with identifying and determining grams for subbing protein sources. Okay, interesting. I hate chicken. My meal plan is so much flipping chicken. I'm starting to have nightmares. You're probably not pre-planning your macros. That's the first thing I would say. When you pre-plan, put your protein in first, then your vegetables, then your fruit, then your carbs and fat or whatever is left, right? Save about 20 grams of protein left because other foods have protein. But definitely that's the first thing. And then in terms of grams, typically between 85 to 120 grams is a good serving size. With the exception of, let's say you're eating like black beans, tofu, and a meat, you may want to do like 60 grams of the meat because the tofu and beans have decent protein, right, for the portion size. How would you determine what to have, right? You need to know your macros by meal. If you don't know your macros by meal and you only know by day, there's so much lacking information and guaranteed that's hindering results 10 out of 10 times, right? You must know your macros by meal, not just for physique results, ladies, for health, right? To really make sure that we're fueling our body in a healthy way and not like all over the place with macros and calories. So typically we say about 35 grams of protein per meal. That totally varies, but that's a pretty good target. We typically do about like 5 to maybe 15 to 20 grams of fat per meal. I know that's a big range, but it is what it is. And then depending on the woman, like 25 to 40 even grams of carbohydrate, right? So if you have 60 grams of protein in one meal, you may want to ask yourself why, and is there a way to space it out a little bit better so it's easier to eat? You probably feel a little bit better, and you'll have more sustained energy throughout the day. In most cases, obviously not for everybody. You betcha, love. Thanks for your question. Okay. Next, Miss Sharm, she says, I work out really consistently on a plan. I lift really heavy. I do progressive overload, and it's so hard to put muscle on. I'm like about to jump for joy. I'm like, no, it's not. I know your problem. I know it right now. And you said, yes, I've tried creatine. I'm 48. it's not just the weight, it's the volume, right? And I keep saying volume, and people say, what do you mean by volume? And in this case, it's like sets per week, right? Volume can definitely be sets times reps times weight, right? I think that's actually the true definition of volume. But volume also means like how much are you putting on your body, right? Let's say you're lifting really heavy and you're doing 9 sets of quads every week, right? You're squatting 3 times a week, 3 sets per week, 9 sets. You feel like you're crushing it. You're exhausted. You're never going to grow. Your quads will never grow. They're going to maintain. It's not enough sets, right? It's not enough volume on that muscle. So if you feel like it's hard to put on muscle, it's just there's not enough strategy in your program, or you need to give it more time. But you should still be seeing change all the time, right? So if you're not seeing change, physique shaping workout, right? More and physique shaping style of lifting is like max strategy of where muscle's going, strategy of how to use tempo, rest periods, set schemes, rep schemes, right? There's so much strategy involved because wherever you're lacking strategy, it's a toss up. What's going to happen, right? So I would dive in your strategy a lot. You can share your strategy with me, Charm. If you want to send me a message, share with me what it is. And I could literally tell you, show it to me. I could literally tell you exactly why that's happening. I'd be happy to do that for you. Okay. Kat. So she says, gaining muscle finally. Whoop, whoop. Just mentally hanging strong. Oh my gosh, my contact is like getting blurry. Just mentally hanging strong with the bulk diet and body fat gains. The struggle is real, straight up. At Queens of Iron, we have women gain about 1 pound per month. It's a really great rate of gain because you're not gaining much excess body fat, but you're gaining like a beautiful amount of muscle. So if you're gaining more than 1 pound per month, you may want to just ask yourself why and make sure that you understand the strategy. Okay, what's up, Jennifer? So she says, it's been 3 days on the correct macros and understanding weight in grams. I feel so much mental clarity and normal and back down the scale. Yes, that's bad. We had a new client come in and she said, what did she say? Like, I don't know if this plan and Shelby is magic or what's happening, but I just lost, it was like something like 2.5 pounds in 3 days, something like that. I'm like, okay, that is good because it is bloat. It's very normal to have like bloat come off. I'm like, but don't expect that long term because then like if you're doing that all the time, it's muscle mass, right? And so it was so funny. And it reminded me of that because when you get on the right macros, it's like your body releases bloat. It releases brain fog. It's like, oh, you just feel so much better. So that's very cool. Sorry, my hair is just really bothering me. That's very cool. Okay, so Miss Christy, she says, hello, ladies. I'm loving my dedication to fitness. I struggle after 5 to stay on track. I understand what I need to do, but I struggle staying as dedicated. Yeah. So there's a couple of strategies around this one. The first one is, are you leaving enough food at night? Or are you trying to have this tiny dinner and then be done eating for the day? Right? Probably not setting yourself up for success if that's the case. So what I would say is, depending where you need to start from, but if you want to start nice and slow, I would say, what are you already eating? Pre-plan that in. Work the rest of your day around it, right? One step at a time. Then it's like, okay, I probably don't need all those chips. Let me take off half the portion size. Beautiful. Saved you some macros, and you're starting to create habits in the right direction that don't feel like such a drastic life change. So you can still enjoy that snack, but it's like just taking a little bit off, but that little bit really adds up, and especially habit-wise, like as you're practicing that. So pre-plan some treats in the evening and start with that strategy, and that will help a lot. Cool. If you have questions, let me know. All right, Rosemary. I'm being consistent. I need to lose fat and I'm menopausal. Okay. So what happens with women who are going into menopause or in menopause? Literally 100% of the time, this is what we've heard so far. I have not heard a different story so far. And I've probably heard this, I mean, well over 500 people, well over, probably honestly over 2,000, but I don't want to exaggerate. What used to work doesn't work anymore. That's it. What used to work doesn't work anymore. But you feel like, oh, it's my hormones. it doesn't work for me anymore at all. It's like, no, 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 that's not the case. Your old strategy, it's just the strategy. The old strategy doesn't work anymore. There is a new strategy for you. And it's actually the exact same one. Get on there, dialed in right macros for you, get in a physique shaping lifting program and start to learn the right habits. So what's the difference? It's just like your body needs something different, different macros, different lifting. You know what I mean? So yay, that's beautiful news because you're not stuck. But yeah, what used to work will never work again. I haven't heard someone say, oh, it magically worked later. Like never, that's never been a thing. It's finding now what works for you. It's like, boom, new body. Okay, now I'm starting from scratch. You're a little bit, but that's okay because the strategy is still exceptionally effective for you. Cool. All right. Natalie, nutrition. I would say listen to some of the tips that I already shared. Elena, same with you. Food. I get it, you guys. I so get it. One step in the right direction at a time. Okay, it really compounds. Okay. Deepthi, I think that's how you pronounce your name. To understand how much protein I have to take, plus what workouts to do to reduce waist love handles. You don't have to do any exercise to bring your waist in and to eliminate the love handles. Let me just let that set in for a second. You seriously don't. You can accomplish that 100% through nutrition alone. So why do we exercise? Of course, bone health, right? We want to be fit. We want to be strong. And for body composition, because if you get all the fat off through macros and you're not lifting, you might look skinny fat, right? It's just like kind of a string bean. Whereas I think most of us, we want to be fit. We want to be strong. We want to be like so physically able in our day-to-day and also look amazing, right? Feel amazing. So that requires the physique shaping style of lifting. Such a tongue twister. But yeah, it's your macros. And so I would say use the calculator, start tracking, get consistent. And you guys, I think that sometimes you don't realize how many habits actually need to be adjusted and how many mindset pieces need to be adjusted. And so you're like, I want results this second. And it's like, you can have results every single week, but not like all the results in 1 week. You know what I mean? Because if your habits don't change to maintain what you just achieved, you're going to gain it back. That's called the gain loss cycle. Gain loss. I'm stuck. I lost it. Dang it. I gained it back. I'm stuck. Right? The culprit is lifestyle. We at Queens of Iron, we use macros, yes, for guaranteed results, but also to develop habits, because that piece is how you get to maintain and enjoy your body, your fitness, your health, your results for the rest of your life. So give yourself the grace to work through that, because you're literally rewiring these habits and it takes time. And if you give yourself grace and support through that, it's faster because you don't have someone like beating you up for not being perfect. You know what I mean? Give yourself the time and don't overlook it, or you'll just have to go through it later. The only way out is through. Okay. Irene, I'm definitely losing fat. Here, let me go like this. I'm definitely losing fat so you can see my natural muscle. But my issue is building muscle, especially in my butt. So I'm not giving enough time. I feel like I should have a smaller stomach due to how much I track and never go over my deficit. So I'm like, it is a little repetitive. So I won't say too much, but I'm like, go back and listen to what I said before. It's volume, right? So in your glutes, it's like, how many sets per week are you putting on your glutes? But ladies, remember, it's like, you still got to keep your body balanced. So you can't just like hammer your glutes for a year without making sure that like your quads are taken care of, your hip flexors are taken care of, your hamstrings are taken care of. Like there's just so much shit. So I be wise, right? If you are doing your own workouts, it's like, be wise, because you don't want to injure yourself, right? You got to be strategic of, yes, where you're putting muscle, but also making sure that your body is healthy. Like a cyclist, they're doing the same motion over and over and over. You have to train the muscles that go backwards to make sure you're not being injured, right? If you don't train the muscles that go backwards, your total body isn't fully supported. You're strong in one thing, but you're injury prone more in daily life. Does that make sense? So you got to think of the whole picture. Okay. So yeah, that's what I'd say there. And then if the belly fat's not losing, in women, hips, legs, I would say third is belly fat, but hips and legs are usually like the last to go. And for some women, it's belly, or belly's like the belly goes, the hips go, the legs go, right? Or something like that for most women, and so it may be that you're losing fat in other areas and it just hasn't got to the belly yet, or B, you just need more diet and macros for your body. This is why we take measurements, right? Not just the scale. Okay. Let me do a few more, ladies, and let me see if there's any questions on here. So sometimes it's hard to hit my protein without increasing my fat and carb. Yeah. Yeah, we're losing it from the boobs. Oh, it's so true. Okay, so with this one, I would say pre-plan. That's definitely an answer. Pre-plan, put your protein in first, then your vegetables, then your fruit, then put in the rest of your fats and carbs. When you're putting in your protein, you're putting it all in, right, for the day. Leave about 20 grams left over because like some fat and carb have protein in it as well. And then for compliance at Queens of Brown, we do over or under 0 to 5 grams, right? So you want all three numbers to be over or under 0 to 5. If that makes sense. If you're tracking alcohol, don't go over calories, hit your protein, and you'll have some fat and carb left. I hope that makes sense. Let me know if you have questions. Michelle, that's funny. It's so real. Okay. All right. So here, I'm going to go. Oh, what's up, Vanessa? So she said, weightlifting workouts are awesome. Yeah, food planning and compliance is not so awesome. Anissa, I'm going to have Jenna talk to you about that more. But really, here, I'll dig into you more personally. I'm like, rather than a general response, we'll chat on Telegram here shortly. Okay, gaining muscle so slow. So, Sophie, if you're doing workouts on your own, or if you have someone doing them for you, you need to get extremely clear on every aspect of strategy in your lifting program, because that tells me either your lifting program is not really designed to efficiently accomplish that, or are you eating in maintenance, right? Are you eating in surplus? At least get a maintenance. Okay. Miss Kira, so she says, I'm doing good with starting to, here, let me go through this. Oh my gosh, you guys, my contact is so blurry right now. I'm like trying to look at the screen. I'm doing good with starting to feel the definition in the muscles I'm targeting. I can't quite see it, but I can feel it, which is making it easier to make sure I'm utilizing the muscles I want during my workouts. Heck yeah, which is improving my form. That's great. I'm getting better at balancing real life with macro tracking, fab. Yeah, so this is more like sharing a win. That's amazing, Kira. Amazing. That's better. Okay, she is. Okay. I need the most help with streamlining my meal prep as it takes a while. It took 3 to 4 hours. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Yeah, I don't know why it would take that long. I would say, I don't know, like maybe have your husband do it, or hire like a nanny that will do it. That's insane. I do rotisserie chickens. It takes like 5 minutes, right? Not 4 hours. That's insane. The other thing personally I do, because I am like such a woman on the go, is I'll go to like New Seasons, for example, and they have grilled chicken breast that I can just grab and slice and it's done, right? I do that for my kid too. They have vegetables, like, so you can cook and kind of intermix like the pre-made food. It really helps, ladies. We're busy mothers, most of us, right? It really, really helps. That's crazy. Or maybe just, I'm not an expert of cooking, right? So maybe I'll just ask someone who's an expert of cooking. Okay. So Christine, love, that is body fat percentage. So getting on the right macros for you. Okay, I'm gonna do 3 more. So Miss Phyllis, I'm loving my arms. They're coming along nicely, but the stubborn belly. I'm 59. I've never had a belly. I'm trying to deal with it. Yeah. Again, I say that it's getting your macros dialed in for you. If you watch the beginning of this, the belly is one of the last places to go, and so it's getting to a low enough body fat percentage for the belly to finally come off. Definitely. I know it's driving you nuts. I hate that too. Like, heck no. It's just never comfortable, right? And so get on the right macros, get consistent, and you should, if you want to lose fat and you're consistent in doing the right things, you should be seeing results every week, okay? And I mean, there's some extenuating circumstances like a ton of alcohol or a ton of stress, things like that. But for the most case, you should be seeing results every week, fat loss results every week, okay? If you're on the right macros with the right habits, right? So, oops, sorry. One sec. Okay. I went on vacation, so no lifting for 2 weeks. I did yoga and a hike. I didn't eat as normal, not too bad. Yeah, cool. So I'm living with the last bit of belly fat and need to learn how to work out to reduce that. That's actually going to be macros, right? Dialing it in to get that last fit. What's interesting is the last, I think sometimes like really low body fat percentage, sometimes it's mindset of like actually owning that woman, of like literally your dream physique. Like that requires courage to step into, and it might sound silly, but it actually does, because you're changing. Like who you are is really changing, right? You've had this like dream image, sometimes on a pedestal, and now suddenly like you're stepping into that, and it's like, whoa, wait a second, am I ready? Like, I don't know. I don't know if I deserve that, sometimes subconsciously. So it could be that, but otherwise it's physique shaping, lifting, and macros for sure. Michelle, what you got, love? I see my abs on the top part for me. Nice. Yeah. Is it slow though, you guys? Like, you know what I mean? I mean, if you're on a plan, like we don't want it to be rapid, because otherwise you're losing muscle mass, right? And so it wasn't that fast to put it on, right? So let's just be patient and just practice gratitude for the journey. That's part of personal growth, right? Being like, I recognize I want this faster, but instead I choose to focus on my habits, be grateful that it's coming off, and just walk. And sometimes you have to tell yourself that a million times, and that's okay. It's part of growth. Okay, cool. I want arms that are badass. I've been working on them for 7 months. When I lift heavy. It's not just about lifting heavy, Sue. It's about you guys, I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but it's like, you guys, it's the same thing. So it's the same problems, right? And so for you, it's like, okay, how much volume are you putting on your arms each week, right? How else are you supporting them in your chest, your shoulders, and your back? What are your macros? Because sometimes it's like we want these like shredded arms, and in reality, it's like actually we got to get the fat off, right? So many women come to us, they're like, oh, I want to lose 10 pounds. I'm like, I hear you, but, and we don't necessarily say this to them because they say it to us later, but it's like, I hear you that you want to lose 10 pounds. I guarantee you're going to want to lose 25, right? Because I think for so many, they don't think it's that much, but 10 pounds spread out is not very much for some women, depending on height. But also, I think that they've been struggling for so long to even get that 10 pounds that they can't fathom, oh, I can't accomplish that 25 or whatever. I can't accomplish that. Like, gosh, that's what I was in high school. That's what I was here. I just don't think I can do that. But then when they start to see that they can do that, they're like, oh, I don't want to stop here. I want to go lower, because in my head it was this number, but what I see, I actually want lower. It's like, yeah, you do. Let's go. Like we already knew that, And so I think just opening your mind to keep moving forward in the direction that you believe you should be going, but allow yourself to be open to discover, and that maybe your end result looks different than you thought it would. And it's like always in the best way. If it's not, there's a kink somewhere, and it's probably in your program design, your workouts. Okay, cool. What helps with bloating? 2 things. Well, actually like 4 things or 5. So food quality, right? Having high food quality. So fruits, vegetables, lean protein, right? Carbohydrates that have a good amount of fiber in there. Okay, so food quality is number 1. Fiber, right? Getting about 25 grams of fiber per day, depending on the woman, but typically about 25 grams of fiber per day helps so much with regulation. What was the other thing I was just gonna, the other thing, oddly enough, is some women have food sensitivities that they don't realize they have. Personal example, I'm allergic to nothing, okay? Yet when I eat Brussels sprouts, broccoli, or onion, or chickpeas, I do bloat. Not allergic to it, doesn't really bother me that much, but I know I'm gonna bloat after those foods. And so it may actually be something that you're eating, but also it's being on the right macros, seriously, almost every time a woman comes in, we get on the right macros and it's like, boom, all this bloat falls off because they're on the right macros for their body, right? So their body's like already getting so much more regulated. So I would say macros, fiber, food quality, possible sensitivities, and then making sure you're getting enough water. Yeah. Good question. It's a real struggle. I know I said I was doing so many more, but no, I forgot. Let me keep going. So Eileen, getting better with focusing more on protein. I'm still not sure what my goal would be. Anyone have a calculator? Yeah, we got you. Here. I was like, maybe I should do that now, but let me just keep going. Getting arms and stomach tone. Yeah, it's macros. Dialed in enough macros. Okay, let me go through the rest of these slides and we'll comment because I want to give you like, beautiful responses instead of like answer that. So go ahead and watch. If you're just coming on from the beginning, there's a lot of great detail in there. I hope that really helped a lot, ladies. If you have questions, feel free to comment them and we'll reply later. And I will be out of town for a bit, so bear with me as I maybe take a little bit longer to respond. I'm taking my son to Disney for his birthday, first vacation from my company literally in 4 years. And so I'm excited, but really nervous. So just bear with me if I take a little longer to respond for the next maybe week or so. Cool. Ladies, thanks for being here with me today. I really appreciate you. Again, I hope that was valuable for you and answered questions. And if you have more questions, you can shoot me a message. We can chat about it. And I hope you have a really great day. I'll talk to you later.